I'm Kusi Achampong. You're welcome to this channel. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please feel free to subscribe to receive notification whenever I upload a new video. Now, when we talk to so many ladies, they say that they want someone who is God-fearing, and that God-fearing is key when they have to, if they have to decide to accept any man in their lives. So today I'm talking about what to look out for in a man. If you have to accept somebody's proposal, what are you going to look out for? It's very important you know what you look out for when it gets to the time that you have to choose someone to settle down with. If you don't have any criteria, it becomes quite difficult. And if your criteria is not something that you should even classify as a criteria, then it becomes very difficult, because you may get what you want, but as to whether what you want is going to make that relationship endure the test of time is another thing altogether. So what will you look out for in a man? Many ladies will say that they want somebody who is God-fearing, but what is your definition for God-fearing? Is it someone who goes to church, or someone who has given his life to Jesus? So your definition of God-fearing is key, but you also fear God. But let's leave that for another time. So what is your definition for God-fearing? Because there are people who go to church every Sunday but have no fear for God. They do not reverence God. They don't love God. They don't have any interest in the things of God. So if you don't have a definition, a working definition for someone who fears God, you may get someone who to you fears God. But as to whether he actually fears God is another thing altogether. So what are you going to do? On what ground are you going to decide that this person fears God and this other person does not fear God? Somebody who fears God will not cheat on you. Somebody who fears God will not push you to have sex with him before you say the vows. Somebody who fears God will not abuse you. Somebody who fears God will not request for unnecessary things. Somebody who fears God will have a personal devotion with him every day. Somebody who fears God will visit the church, because the Bible says we shouldn't forsake the assembling of ourselves together as we see the day approaching. So somebody who fears God will be willing always to go to church and fellowship with other believers. So if you have somebody who says I fear God but has no regular devotional life, does not go to church every week, his life portrays other things. He says I fear God, but the dealings, he does a lot of things that cannot be classified as someone who fears God, because by their fruits you shall know them. It's not by their words. The Bible was emphatic on that. It didn't say by their words you shall know. It said by their fruits you shall know them. So if I say I fear God by my fruits and not portraying someone who fears God, then you should be careful. So many ladies have found themselves in trouble because they think this person is very romantic, caring, loving, but does not go to church. And they think that is okay, they can deal with that. You can't. Especially if you are the type who fears God very well. And so it's important we understand that if you say you fear God, you want someone who fears God, then that person must tick the boxes. If that person doesn't tick the relevant boxes, then you have to be careful. Okay, that is the fear of God. Now, another thing you should look out for in a man, someone with a vision. So the man who wants to marry you must have a vision. You have to find a way to interrogate this gentleman to see whether he has a vision for his own life. If that person doesn't have it, if the man who wants to marry you doesn't have a vision for his own life, I'm not sure he can have a vision for the family. And that's why I think that you should find out whether this person has a vision. There are people, a lot of gentlemen who are walking around with no vision. You ask them what is your plan for the next 5-10 years, they have no idea what they are talking about. So as a woman, as a lady, you must look out for someone who has a vision. Ask him about his plans for medium to long term, 3, 5, and 10 years. It's important. If he cannot tell you his plans for the next 3 to 5 and 10 years, then of course he has no vision. That should be clear. Whoever you are interested in must have a vision. He is the head of the family. If he has no vision, what it means is that he's going to lead you to a ditch. He will lead the whole family to a ditch. And so look out for someone with a vision. Vision is important. The third thing I think you should look out for in a man is someone who is hardworking. You see, the man must take care of the home. And so if this person is lazy, then you are in trouble. If the gentleman is lazy, doesn't want to go to work, complains about work all the time, then you have to be careful. You don't want to marry a lazy man, a lazy person. So look out for someone who is hardworking. It's very important, because there are a lot of people who are walking around, a lot of guys who are walking around, who are very lazy. They have never made any application to any company, but they sit down and complain that there are no jobs. Yes, there are challenges, but it doesn't mean that you sit down, cross your hands, and do nothing. So look out for someone who is doing something, hardworking. If he has no job now, you know what he is doing to get a job. Desperately seeking for a job, doing everything possible in his own power to get a job. That is very important. So if you are going out with someone who is a student now and that person is lazy, already as a student he is lazy, you should run away from that person. You shouldn't just waste time that he will change. You advise him to change. No, you have not been able to change yourself. How much more this gentleman who has been lazy for the last 10 years? You can't. So hard work is important, because as a man you are going to take care of the home, and if you are not hardworking, how are you going to feed your family? Like the Bible says, if a man is unable to feed his family, he is worse than an infidel. So ladies, be mindful. Hard work is important. So I've spoken about 3 things: a God-fearing, a man with a vision, and a man who is hardworking. These 3 things are very important for any successful home. You want to have a successful family, these 3 things are very crucial. And as a lady, you should consider these 3 things. They are not exhaustive. There are other things that you should look out for, but for today I've just spoken about 3 areas that I think you should look out for when you are considering the proposal of a man. If you have not subscribed to this channel, subscribe to this channel to receive notification whenever I upload a new video. I need you to subscribe so that you can get content from me regularly every week.